the summer of 2005, to promote the release of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Hasbro released their own unique board game action figure hybrid. The catch? Throwing out the contemporary use of dice, large rulebooks, and other accessories. Instead, they combined the collectability of trading cards and a no-setup game using action figures on bases. From there, Attacktix was born. Using the property of Star Wars as its springboard, Attacktix would eventually go on to utilize characters from the prequel series, the original trilogy, and eventually other properties outside of Star Wars, such as Marvel superheroes and even Transformers. A game like no other, the fans who enjoyed the concept and figure collecting are but a few within small communities online. Conserving the legacy and impact it had for them, they continue to play, mod, and discuss with others. With such a small gap of exposure to the general public and an even smaller collection of series figures to choose from, let's take a dive into the mechanics of the game that they hold dearly first.
Optimus Prime? Beat Darth Vader? No way.
Find out with Attacktix. New Transformers clash with Star Wars.
Now for a more detailed tutorial on the game itself, please check Brett Rotatori's YouTube page, who is actually one of the creators of the only Attacktix Facebook group dedicated to, well, Attacktix, who has a more comprehensive video on most of the rules. The YouTube video will be in the description below. In short, the objective is to eliminate all of your opponent's Attacktix figures before they eliminate all of yours. By taking turns moving and attacking, this is the unique format that makes Attacktix stand on its own as a miniature figurine wargame. Your figures might have spring projectile weapons or direct spinning strikes that can be used to knock out the opposing player's figures. Unlike other games, there is a physical aspect to aiming and truly hitting the other figures to take them down. Weights, angles, and any other physics aspects take part when knocking over a figure. Instead of facts or the roll of dice, like some games use, you have a true fight with them. That brings in all the unexpected outcomes that just aren't possible in a set rule system. Now as for movement, a small wheel is actually under the base, which makes a tick noise when moving them around a flat surface. Above the base is the number of ticks a figure is allowed to move during each turn, hence the name Attacktix. The uniqueness from movement and attacking can only be seen to be believed, as most fans would like to say. I play HeroClix, Warhammer, and HeroScape, but nothing matches to this game. It's a one-of-a-kind game for sure. The shooting and attacking, no other game has that. It's so easy to learn, and it's so fun when new players understand the game. It's a fun game to play. It's easy to teach somebody and enjoyable for nearly everyone. The concept is simple. Play is simple. It's a can't-lose kind of party game too. The simple rules make it very different from HeroClix and 40K. A brand new player can jump in and learn the rules in seconds. That being said, it also had strategic elements that allowed for more advanced players to enjoy the game too. But obviously, the main difference is the actual combat rules. You need to knock another figure over. You could practice aiming and attacking with your favorite figures, and you didn't have to worry about an opponent rolling a lucky 20 and ruining your plans.
Optimus Prime? Beat Darth Vader? No way.
Find out with Attacktix. New Transformers clash with Star Wars.
On my research on this small online community of fans of Attacktix, the Facebook group is one of the only active locations where fans continue to discuss the game, trade, and share their love of Attacktix. But from this, you can only imagine their passion from the beginning and onwards. So let's see some of that beginning. Joe Manzo, or as many would have called him in the past, Joe Attacktix, is a web designer and developer who has dedicated a lot of his time to collecting. His family runs small Comic-Cons in the Delaware/Maryland area, which means collecting memorabilia, especially toys, is a big part of his life and job. But it just took one day to make him an Attacktix fan for life. 16 years ago, on April 2nd, 2005, they had the Midnight Madness Star Wars toy release at Toys R Us, Walmarts, etc. My wife and I are big Star Wars fans, and at the time we lived in Tampa, Florida, and we had a friend who was an even bigger fan. I think we went to both Walmart and True that night, and I don't remember what other toys I picked up, but the Attacktix had caught my eye. I had previously played HeroClix when I lived in Maryland, but stopped when I moved to Florida. I saw the Attacktix Megas, Boga, and AT-RT, along with the starter packs and blind boxes, and immediately thought these seemed like a lighter version of HeroClix. This would eventually spawn into a blog, message boards. The remnants can still be accessed today via Wayback machine, as well as an Attacktix fan website. I started the blog just a few days after I bought my first set, and I remember playing on our glass coffee table. The website was once known as joeattacktix.com, which included an Attacktix personality quiz, figure guides, links to the original Attacktix website, and so much more. Dubbed the unofficial Attacktix website, updates were regularly occurring within the years of the game's lifespan. But like most good things, it is now mostly viewable through Wayback Machine. The domain and hosting for joeattacktix.com went away in 2012, but some content is still accessible through StarWarsAttacktix.blogspot.com, as well as Attacktix.proboards.com, where discussions can be seen to be from as recent as 2019. Joe Manzo was truly a major pioneer for the interest on the game, and despite holding to an already small pocket of the community, he does not regret any of his time, and had even set up tournaments for the game during its peak. I was involved in the tournaments. I am pretty sure Webhead, also known as Brett, another Attacktix fan, and I were the only guys to hold a tournament outside of the SDCC. I would also run mini tournaments at MegaCon in Orlando and demos at local shows, but I haven't heard of any new tournaments in over a decade. Someday I would like to run one, for fun, at one of my Comic-Cons, but we are so busy running the show, it may never happen. Despite everything, Joe is proud to be a fan of the game and has met many friends and people to share the love of the game, regardless of the time that has passed. The creator of Attacktix, Brian Wilk, messaged me and said he was happy that people liked his game. I started the forum and met many of the members in person at the Ohio tournament that Brett arranged. Brett was so creative with his custom Attacktix rules and scenarios that Brian got him a job, and then they let me work on a few projects for Hasbro too. I've stayed in touch with Brett for years. I also made a very good friend who I've met up with almost every year at different cons and events. He has one of the most impressive Attacktix displays you would ever see. Anytime I see an Attacktix at a yard sale or thrift store, I have to buy it, even though I have boxes and boxes in the attic. I don't play it as much as I would like, but I do keep a few figures around to goof off with occasionally. It would be great to see a comeback, considering everything gets a retro release these days, so who knows? For the most part, what seems to be left standing is Brett Rotatori's Hasbro Attacktix Facebook group, in which a beacon of hope continues to live on for their online community. I noticed a significant decline in the old Attacktix board, as well as Joe Attacktix being completely gone. As much as I love it, these old websites have become really dated by today's standards, so I wanted a place where people could still talk about the game I love so much, but with a more modern approach. I couldn't stand to see the community completely die out. The game means far too much to me, and thankfully others, as the support has shown.
Optimus Prime beat Darth Vader? No way.
Find out with Attacktix. New Transformers clash with Star Wars.
With such a short run and so many possibilities of characters that were never brought to life through Attacktix, the fans use a combination of ingenuity and creativity to make their own favorite character figures. These unofficial figures made by fans include Marvel and Star Wars characters that were never made official Attacktix figures, including interesting concept blueprints for figure ideas that can also be found on StarWarsAttacktix.blogspot.com. We had a lot of customizers back in the day. I would do repaints and minor head/appendage swapping. Some people called that kit bashing. Others would take non-Attacktix figures and put them on bases and stick an Attacktix gun in their hand and make a whole new line. Looking back at my paint jobs now is cringeworthy, but they were fun to make. Jerry Battiste, a digital marketing professional and author, utilizes different methods to make his dream figures come true. We paint them, use modeling clay to make entirely new figures, create new labels and new special abilities so the figures are actually playable. I have made Red Hulk, Lady Deathstrike, Black Cat, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Silver Samurai figures, all perfectly playable. With their own creations, this tight-knit group share their work and have even collaborated on projects, which have led to even programs and kits to be made available for any would-be modders. Brett M. Seymour, Joe Manzo, and others I can't think of the top of my head have all made some custom figures. There was even a program that had the proper text to print out the abilities and base. I believe that is somewhere in the group. I always thought an all-metal Attacktix would be very cool.
Optimus Prime beat Darth Vader? No way.
Find out with Attacktix. New Transformers clash with Star Wars.
From 2005 to 2006, Attacktix would end after 4 series packs, which included Transformers, Star Wars, and Marvel. The line was killed promptly, a short lifespan for a toy line that barely made it to 2 years. And if there's one thing that Attacktix fans differ between each other, it is the circumstances of the toy line's cancellation and its lack of popularity from mainstream. It was way ahead of its time. It also fell between popularity for the franchises it was trying to build from, Star Wars and Marvel and Transformers. Released today, or when movies kick off again, I think people would go bananas for it. Having talked to a few of the Hasbro team, I believe Transformers were underperforming, which means the line was declared dead even while new toys were made and packaged. Other factors may have been the blind packaging. Blind boxes are huge with kids right now, but it may have been too early for that age group at the time, or there may have been a lot of shrink due to kids opening the boxes in stores. They changed packaging to prevent theft and peeking. It may have also been oversaturation. Star Wars, Marvel, and Transformers were all out at once. But those are just guesses. Hasbro seems to end kids' toy lines or revamp them regularly, so it may also have just been the end of the cycle. I think Attacktix never got the recognition it deserved because it was catered to a younger audience, even though a majority of die-hard Star Wars fans were not younger when it was released. Had it came out a decade before, it might have been a different story for Attacktix. I actually talked about this in a video I made a while back. I believe there was a substantial amount of people that bought the figures but never cared to learn about the game itself, and just wanted the action figure. So very young kids may not have found it appealing. For the older group, the game itself is on the simpler side, so it may have been underwhelming for some who are used to complex card or battle games. Though that is purely speculation, I have heard the first Star Wars series did very well though, and it wasn't until they started saturating the market with so many series later on that it struggled. I truly believe the game can be extremely successful given some added complexity and more aggressive advertisement, though Hasbro disagrees it seems. It's like they just released it and expected people to just know what it was. Also, I think it was around the 2009 USA crash where so many people were losing jobs. If this game came out today, people would be obsessed with it. Whether it was the lack of word of mouth or not catching on early, Attacktix is a unique game that used multiple franchises that not only continue to be a part of mainstream culture, but are breaking box offices in film and continuing their media domination through nostalgia and remakes. To some degree, one can only imagine the new figures that could come out with a new series, and that hope continues to come from the fans that keep the game relevant and alive today. Even if no new figures ever come out, maybe one day we can still hold a tournament of some kind. As for new fans, there have been a couple of people who come to the group saying they have just recently started playing, which warms my heart. I wish the answer was yes to either part of this question, but I don't think it will be making a comeback anytime soon. Maybe if someone can get Charlie D'Amelio to play a round on TikTok, we can introduce it to 100 million people, but I don't have her contact info. And maybe their efforts have not gone fully unnoticed. It's never too late to enjoy a new game or introduce a new weekend tradition with family and friends. For fans who still collect, play, and customize, their special love for a short-running game like Attacktix proves that different never means inaccessible or unpleasant, but can mean exciting and eye-opening. I recently just rejoined the Attacktix community after about a 10-year hiatus. I don't see much growth, but there's a possibility of future growth because I have shown a handful of friends the game, and every single one was interested. Again, special thanks for everyone that was involved for this documentary. I really appreciated all of this insightful information, and this one was very personal to me because I still have a lot of Attacktix figures in my basement. I haven't played them in a long time, but just thinking and researching and, talking to people about this game, I would love to play it again. Maybe I'll post some things on my TikTok for Forgotten Fans, but I really enjoyed doing this one, and it's good to be back. Season 2 is up. This is the first episode, and if you want to see previous episodes before I continue going on every single month with a new video, feel free to check out my playlists and the new and the old videos out there. So everyone have a great day, and remember, they may have forgotten, but you did not.